Hello everyone. This is my first time doing a YouTube live, and I'm going to be very frank and honest. It is very tricky, and this is my first time doing, so I'm not sure that everything's going to work fine. So keep me posted in the chat if you have any bad quality audio or video. So I have started this live stream a little early so that we can test all those stuff. If everything is fine, let me just check with few of my friends if everything is fine. So if you feel the audio is okay, just share a message on the chat so that I can know that. Great. So thanks, Vishal. I think the video may not be great because my machine is not that powerful, because I think to do a high quality live stream on YouTube, I think it takes a lot of horsepower, and I don't think my MacBook would be able to handle that. Cool. Awesome. So, Vishal, let me know whenever we can start with this session, whenever you think everyone is there, or when we have a good amount of people watching. So let me check how many people are watching in YouTube. I'm going to probably write a blog post on how to do a live stream for developers, because it's not that easy, to be honest. Yeah, I think we have 6 people watching now. Thanks, Vishal, for organizing this. I know it had to be a lot of things to do when it comes to, like, getting a lot of people together for a session. And I think everyone is staying safe in spite of the pandemic. Hopefully everything gets fine soon. Yep, we will wait till, I would say, like maybe 3-3 or 3-5, so that we can join. So one, then, if you guys who are watching right now have any question, can shoot it. If anything that you want to know or want to have in this session, can probably put that into the chat. Okay, 15 people are already there. We have 25, 22, 23. Hi, Gitartha, I'm sorry if I misspelled your name. So, can you hear what I'm trying to talk? Do you have any problem with video or audio? So, there's going to be a little bit of delay between what I'm trying to talk and what you'll be receiving because of YouTube Live, the default thing, what it is. So, there might be some delay in me answering your questions when you type in the chat. So, hey, good afternoon. Jayashree and Rishabh. Hi. And please don't call me Sir. Please feel free to call me Amir. So no Sir, please. That's the most important rule over here. No Sir. Yes, Amir. Hello. Aditya Thakur. Hi. Hello. Hello everyone. I think a lot of people are joining. Unfortunately, I'm not able to see how many people have joined. Can you see how many people are watching? Hi, Neeraj. Does everyone has this audio problem? Okay, probably Neeraj have checked with your headphone, maybe something very specific to you. I'm not sure. Okay, cool. Apologies because during live streaming there are always some problems like audio and video. Just bear with me if it goes like very very bad. Let me know. So I think we can start right now. Cool, awesome. So welcome everyone. I'll just share my slide so that everyone can see. Yeah. I will have the YouTube chat to my side. So if you guys have any questions at any point in time, just feel free to shoot the questions in the chat. But keep the questions very relevant because we don't want to deviate from the topic. And please ask one question at a time so that we can always keep it in sync. Cool. So awesome. So the first slide is that where we all started. So I think most of you would remember this thing. Right? We wrote a C program, we compiled it, and we see the output, and we will be very happy that we did something in the world. So that's the same thing I want you guys to take away today when it comes to open source. So today I want to give you that aha moment where you can, start your OSS journey and have a deep understanding on how you can contribute to real world projects and also start some open source projects which would like kind of add a lot of value to your career, your network, your community. So that's what it's all about in today's session. Okay. So before we even start, so a lot of you might not know me and might have a question about like who are you, what you do. So I'm Amir. You can find me with the handle Amir the Hacker in most of the social media like Twitter, GitHub, everywhere you can use that. And then I work as a software engineer too, or you can call kind of a little experienced engineer in OLX people. So what we do in OLX people is that we kind of help people build great teams by automating the process of recruitment. So that's what we do in OLX people. So in the morning I'll be building some apps for OLX people, building websites, mobile apps and things like that. And at the night I do a lot of open source work. So I maintain a very popular repo called React Lazy Load, which has around like 4K stars in GitHub. Probably some of you might have already using it. And I've also built some other tools which are actually being used in companies like Make My Trip, Alibaba, Netflix, and even in Microsoft. And I also write a lot of blogs in FreeCodeCamp and Dev.to. So if you want to follow me, just have a look at it there. And I post a lot of things relevant to JavaScript and front-end development and whatever I'm actually doing. And yes, I'm a Marvel fan. So if you are a Marvel fan, give me a thumbs up. And then I love cats and I love a lot of stickers. I'm really upset that we are not doing this live, because if we are doing live, you can see a lot of stickers in my in my laptop. So I'm a sticker nerd. Yeah. So today the talk, just a minute. So Aditya Thakur says that he's still there's some echoes. Maybe it's because it's coming inside from the room. Give me a minute. So does this feel better? Because I have opened up my room. If the echo follows, please let me know. Okay. So today we'll be talking about how we can kickstart your OSS journey or open source software journey. So before we even talk about the open source software journey, I just want to give you guys an overview of what this OSS actually means, because there is a lot of misconceptions and myths around what actually means open source. Okay, so to understand, we have to go a little back in history when Bill Gates wrote this open letter to a huge community of nerds. He said most of the hobbyists or people like us or developers like us using their software by pirating or using piracy. He said you are a bunch of thieves and just kind of stealing our work without even getting us paid, right? And that's where this whole thing started, right? So we hackers or developers are kind of rebels. We don't actually want someone to be guarding us. We want to hack into things. We love sharing those hacks with people, and we don't want any kind of rules binding us when we do those stuff, right? So that's how this open source journey all started in the history. But the thing is that Bill Gates was kind of right, because when we build some quality software, we need money. Okay, without that, it's not going to be sustainable, right? And it's not so justifiable that you use someone's code and don't give any credit, right? So it's kind of a balance which we are missing when it comes to open source software. So we'll have a look at how we can address this issue too. So the next thing is that most of might be thinking why should I even care? Why should I even talk about open source software development, or why should I even start to contribute to other projects or start my own project? Okay. So there are a bunch of reasons that we need to care about it. So for that, let's imagine a world there are no open source software at all altogether. Okay. So the first thing would be you would have no mobile phones, and there would be a lot of suicides in the world without any mobile phone, right? Can you imagine today's a world without any mobile phones? Because a lot of you might be running Android, and Android uses Linux, which is open source, and it's kind of totally built from ground up with open community and open source in mind. So without that, this wouldn't be even possible today, right? And yes, there wouldn't be any web at all. Like if you see a lot of websites that you use today, like YouTube, Facebook, a lot of them run Linux servers to run their services. So let's say if there's no open source, no Linux, then there are no websites that you use today. So it would be like a very scare ground. I'm not saying there won't be anything in the web, but you wouldn't see a lot of quality stuff that you use today, right? So what I did was, I took it to Twitter and asked how much people are dependent on open source today, right? So this is what I asked a bunch of professionals who work in huge, technology companies, who are doing a lot of open source work, and it came out that most of them heavily depend on it, like 64%, and even in Mindly, it covers almost 80% of the community. And there's just 10% who said not very much, and I was very shocked about it. And the reply to that was even more, funny, that someone came and said how people can even mildly depend on it if they must be heavily depending on it. So that's the effect of open source in the world, right? So let me quickly check if there's any questions. Yeah, cool. So yeah, this is the best thing I would say. You might now tell me that, Amit, you know what? Right now we are talking, right? So open source software journey can give you a lot of job opportunities. I'm telling you, I have seen a lot of living examples, and I myself is a living example where open source journey can bring you a lot of job opportunities. So if you don't trust me, no worries. So this is what happened to me like maybe few months ago. So someone reached out to me in Gmail saying that, hey Amir, I saw your GitHub profile, it's very impressive. I'd like to have a job call with you. This is what we are looking for, and this is what we are capable of providing you. So when you have your a really good open source graph or a path or a journey, people are going to come behind you and offer you jobs. You are not the one going to be going behind jobs and asking people to give you a chance of interview, right? So that's the power of open source contribution. And you might say like, hey Amir, you're just saying that it happened to you. It might be just you. It may not happen to everyone. But the truth is, this is my friend Vinit. He now works in Postman. So he recently had the same kind of an email where people were offering him US jobs because of his really good GitHub profile and his community contributions and open source contributions. Okay, so job opportunities are one thing that you can get by open source, right? Cool. So do anyone have any questions till now? Can just feel free to put it onto the chat room. Okay. Cool. Probably like you might not have questions right now. Awesome. Yeah. So the next thing is that like you get a lot of fun, to be honest. Like if you're working in an organization, you're bound to what you can do, right? But when it comes to open source, there's nothing like stopping you from doing it. You can break things, you can fix things, and like probably you can use the word. I'm just joking there, but yeah, the sky is the limit. You can do a lot of things when it comes to open source software. And this is the very crucial thing that you get out of open source. You can find a lot of inspiration, right? So I met a lot of awesome people just out of this community contributions. To name few, like I met Tane himself through open source journey that we were doing, like we were trying to mentor for Hacktoberfest. That's where I met Tane. I met a lot of other people like Dilba, Aditya Harwal, Vinith, who I said in the previous slide. Everyone I met through this platform. So through this, you will meet great people. You would remain connected with them throughout your life, and they would add a lot of value to your life and to your career, right? So that's an important part. And then you can share your idea with them, right? So all these people I have met are very down to the earth, okay? So they are very humble. No one is like, you know what, I've done this, I'm not going to be talking to you, I'm not going to share your idea, I'm not going to listen to your idea. No, everyone is going to be very down to the earth, listen to your ideas, share your ideas, and then the biggest part is that you can work with them on those ideas, right? So I have found few people and I have worked with them, like few apps I have built with them, so you can collaborate with them. So you have a helping hand when it comes to that, right? And yes, you can learn a lot, right? So you can, when you read others' code, you are becoming an exceptional coder. And some might be arguing like I don't get their code right away. We'll be getting to that in the upcoming slides. But once you start reading their codes, you get a lot of insights, and you slowly become, the best software developer, I would say, right? And then you can review anyone's code. If you see someone is contributing to any repo, no one is stopping you from reviewing it. So you can gain a lot of skills from reading others' code also, and also reading others' code, right? And then you can get your code reviewed by awesome folks. Trust me on that, right? So hope you guys all know Ryan Dahl, or the creator of Node.js. So he was starting a project for Deno. So I tried kind of contributing to it, and this is Ryan Dahl himself who came and kind of reviewed my code. Even though the contribution got rejected, even I gave it a try. I talked to Ryan Dahl. That gives a lot of confidence to yourself, right? Cool. Yep. So Shrikant is asking how to choose an open source project. So how we can stop it? That's a really great question, and we'll be coming back to that on the upcoming slides. So that's the entire thing. This all about. Okay, so choosing an open source project to contribute to is also an art, and I would not recommend you to waste your time on a project which is not worth contributing to. And there are a lot of parameters in which you need to judge whether I can contribute to this project or not, whether my contributions will be valued or not, right? I will get back to that. Okay. Right. And the next bigger thing is that there is no discrimination. So if you are 10 years old, 19 years old, no one cares. As long as you contribute some good amount of code, you're always welcome, right? So you can be a junior developer, architect. No one is telling that this piece of work is not meant for a junior developer. No one is going to tell that. So you can always do it. And no one is putting their age or their designation on GitHub, right? So you can always do that. Yep, this is the very crucial part. Like, you can do a huge impact. Like, you can leave a dent, literally a dent in the universe by building open source software. You can see Linux. He was building it as a hobby. He was just like you guys, right? He was a student. He had a problem. He solved it, and now it has taken over the world. And Evan, you guys might have known Vue.js. It's a JavaScript framework, and it has a huge amount of people using it, and it was just created because the author wanted to solve his own problem, right? He never imagined that it would make a huge impact, right? So never stop yourself from doing things, and this open source journey will help you to make that huge impact on the world, right? Okay, so Vishal is asking a question that should I know everything to start contributing? So the right way to answer is that there is nothing you should do to start an open source contribution. Or let me put it this way. So I always advise people that, let's say you are starting a project and they always ask me, should I know everything before I start a project? I'm telling you, if you decide that, then you're never going to start a project, because you would never be getting 100% knowledge to start a project. Just start it, and over the period of time you would gain those skills to do it. So it's very similar to this open source contributions. Don't think that, okay, so this project is written in this. Voice not clear. Okay, so let me finish this answer. We'll check the voice now. So if you start contributing some projects, you will slowly, slowly will get into the clutch of contributing. There's no need for you to know everything to start contributing. Does that answer your question, Vishal? Is that my voice still not clear, so that you couldn't hear my answer? Cool, awesome. So yeah, awesome. So that's good. Yep. So this is the next question that a lot of people ask me, that like, can open source generate me revenue, or give me money? To be honest, yes, you can, right? So when you build some software which is open source and it's used by a lot of people, then you can definitely make money out of it. I'm not telling you this like, just like that, because I've seen it. Like, if you see a lot of open source projects, there used to be a lot of people, and people are ready to sponsor you for that, or sponsor them for that, because if you're using software, you want that to be continuously maintained, so everyone sponsor your money. And Patreon is a way by which you can collect money or collect monetary benefits from people who are using your software. So Evan Yu, who is the creator of Vue.js, is on Patreon. He is getting a huge amount of support from his fans and people who love Vue.js. So you can make a living out of open source. But I don't want to put up this misconception that you can quit your college or quit your job and start open source and start making money. To be honest, making money in open source needs that product to be widely used, and it should be of of high value. So the making money out of a project in the initial stages is not going to be that easy, but over the period of time, if your project becomes huge, then you can quit your job, go full time on it, and people will be ready to support it. Cool. Yep. You can start your own company when you have open source software, right? So I'm not joking on this. Like, if you have time, please Google about Hasura, Dgraph, and even Ubuntu. All these projects are kind of open source. They are fully available on the internet. You can go today, go to GitHub, download their project, read their code, contribute code. But how do they make money? They have a separate version of it, kind of a premium, kind of a freemium. So let's say you use Hasura and you want some more features. They have a separate offering where you have to pay money and get it. But having some part of Hasura as kind of open source takes a lot of weight out of the developers. They would get a lot of support from the community. There is no need for them to have a huge amount of developers to contribute to their code, right? So that's the power of Hasura, Dgraph, and Ubuntu, and you should definitely check them out. Yep. So here comes the start of the section which everyone are looking forward to. How can I actually start contributing, right? Yeah. So GitHub is great, but there are a few tricks that you need to see in GitHub to start your first contribution. Okay. So let me show you a quick example. So there's something called good first issue. So when you're starting your contribution, you should look for this. So how to do that? Let me show you quickly. So go to GitHub, choose a project, but how to choose a project, we'll come back to that. But go to a particular project. Right now I'm in Parcel, and you guys might know Parcel. It's a famous bundler, loved by a lot of people. So go to the issues section. Issues is where people post like what are the problems in this, what are the things that need to be done in Parcel. Then you can go to the label section and filter it on first good issue. So if a project has this label, it means there's a huge chance that you can contribute to this project. Just take a particular issue, read it, and if you feel okay, it's good enough, I can contribute, then do it. Okay. So there was another question already that saying that how can I choose that project? Okay. So one of your criteria to choose an open source project should be that their issues having good first issues labeled, right? So if they don't have this good first issue labeled in their issues, most probably it's not going to be easy for you to contribute if you are a beginner. So if you are a beginner, choose repos which has good first issues. That is one of the criteria to choose a good open source project to contribute to. And most of the big open source projects always have this label called good first issues. Okay. And now there's a second thing that you should be very sure of. When you read the issues, read the description, make sure that you fully understand it. Okay. If you don't understand, feel free to ask the contributors what to do, what is to be done. Okay. So I can show you an example for that. Like this is the same parcel. There was an issue. Okay, I was trying to contribute to them, and it had a good first issue label. Okay, this is when I started my open source journey. So it said like whenever page refreshes, I should clear whatever that is there in the console. Okay. So what I did was first I went there, said like hey, I want to take up this issue. They said right, go ahead. Okay. Then I actually read the issue, right? So I was not clear. I was not able to understand what they want to do, right? What I did shamelessly, and I asked them, like, Jasper, I'm not sure what to do. What does this mean? What should I do? The collaborator or the maintainer was such a humble person. He came up and said, like, you know what? You need to choose this file. You need to make these changes, and this is what is expected, right? Then I totally understood. If I had any problem, I would have followed up with some comments more, but I went ahead, I made some changes. There was just two changes, right? The good first issues, like you just need to touch one file, make some small changes. That's what they named as good first issue. That's why I'm recommending it's good for you guys. So it was good for me also. I made some changes and created a pull request. So in creating a pull request, there are a few things that you should be very careful about, okay? So when you create a pull request as a beginner, you should be very explicit about what you are trying to do. Okay, so they most probably have a template that they expect you to tell. So what I was trying to tell them is that what was missing, what I have added, and I had little doubt on what I was doing. Right. So whoever it might be when they are starting up, they will not be sure about what they are doing. So that was the same with me. So what I did, I told Jasper that I did this, I'm not sure whether it's right or not, and that's totally fine. No one is going to judge you on that, and they already know that you are a beginner when you take a good first issue. Okay. Then look at the collaborator. He came back. He said that this is what you need to do. He gave me an example of that also. That have a look at the example, and you clearly understand what is need to be done. Right. I did the same. I went ahead, did that. made those changes, had little more chat on the code, and then it got merged, right? So that's how we do our first open source contributions. Look for the good first issue, take the issue, read the issue, understand the issue. If you have any questions, shoot up in the comment, and then create a pull request. Still, if you're not sure, feel free to comment or ask for the help to the the contributor, and this will be always ready to help you, right? So do you guys get the first flow of using the the good first issue? So do you guys have any questions around this? Please feel free to shoot the questions right now. I can wait for a few minutes. Okay. So somebody already asked, like let's say I have zero knowledge about any technology or framework and have never contributed before how I start. Okay. 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 So I said like there is no need for you to learn a particular framework or library, but you should be having a very good foundation or basic knowledge. Okay. So let's say you go for a project. Let's say this is Parcel. Okay. Parcel is fully written on JavaScript and it uses Node.js. Okay. So what you guys need to be shared is that, like, do you have a good understanding of JavaScript? And do you have a good understanding of what a bundler does? I'm not saying in the level of code, but in the high level understanding. So if I say bundler, you understand that, okay, it is something that it takes my code, bundles it together, gives me an asset which I can deploy. So if you have that high level of understanding and you have a good base understanding of how JavaScript works, the language fundamentals, then you can get started, right? You just go through it, read their code, you might understand it, but sometimes reading the entire code may not help. So in those cases, what you can do is that go to the pull request. Okay, so go to the pull request, and that pull request would have an issue to that pull request. Read the issue and read the pull request. So when you read these two things, you would understand, okay, for these two changes to be done, I need to add this set of code in these regions. So you would have a good understanding about how they relate, how their code base is organized. Okay, and the next important thing that you can look for is, let me go to Parcel. Okay, so in any project, a good project, look for contributing.md. Okay, that could have a good description about how you can get started with the project and how they have organized the project. And this is the second criteria that you should choose to get an open source project. If a project doesn't have contributing.md, a markdown file on how to contribute, better don't contribute, because you are wasting your time, and you can look for other great projects which have the way to contribute. Okay, so you can read this contribution guide. They tell you what you need, how to set up the project. If you still have any any issues understanding this, feel free to go to issues, create an issue saying that, you know what, I'm not understanding this part of contribution, how should I get started, and people will be always ready to contribute. Okay, so does that answer your question, Kanishk? Sorry, not Kanishk, Kushkara Srivasta? Does that answer your question? Okay, so probably take some time. There might be a delay in me talking about it and you receiving it. So let me know if you don't understand. Cool. Awesome. So the next thing, there are next few other stuff that you can do to start contributing to open source. The first thing is that GitHub Advanced Search. I'm not sure how many people have gone through this GitHub Advanced Search. So the GitHub Advanced Search is nothing but you go to GitHub. Okay, go over to GitHub first. Say GitHub/search. Okay, so this is the GitHub Advanced Search. You just add search at the end of GitHub, and then you can see something called Advanced Search. When you click on Advanced Search, you would be shown a huge kind of advanced kind of Google search thing. So if you, there's an advanced part of Google search, right? You can choose like how you want to search. Similarly, you can do the same with here. So here you can choose which repository you want to contribute to. Let's say I'm good at JavaScript, or you are good at Golang, or you are good at something else. Choose the language you want. You choose the language of the repository that you're looking for. So I can choose, I'm looking for JavaScript. Okay, cool. I'm looking for JavaScript. Cool. And I'm looking for, good first issues, right? So what I can do is that I can go to issue options and say, okay, the issue should be open. It shouldn't be closed, because if it's closed, it means it's done. And then I can say with labels, first good issue, right? I say I want issues with first good issue. I want it to be open, and I want them to be in the language of JavaScript. Choose whatever language which suits you. Click search, and you're going to get a lot of projects that you can contribute to, and these projects would definitely have an issue which says good first issue, right? So this is how you use GitHub to search for projects which you can contribute to, right? So do anyone, yeah, okay. So, Aman, your question is a very valid question. So, the thing is that whenever you read some people's code or documentation, you would have questions about what this technical word means, because it can be very specific to a project, right? So, in those cases, what you can do is that, let me go to the parcel project again. So, in parcel, they would have a community called a Spectrum community or a Slack community. Okay, so every open source project has a community, and this is a third parameter on which you should choose an open source project. If an open source project doesn't have a Slack or Spectrum or any community on which you can ask questions, please don't try to waste your time on contributing it, because if a particular project doesn't have a open space where you can kind of start asking questions. So here, if you can see, there are a lot of people asking questions already. Like, I'm not sure what this does mean, what does this word mean. So always feel free to join those community, ask your questions, and I'm telling you, the contributors are going to be very very humble with you. They're not going to judge you on like such a stupid question, such a dumb question. No, they're not going to do that. They want contributors, and they want first time contributors to contribute to their project. So they will be always humble and answer all your questions. So the next criteria that you should choose an open source project on is make sure that it has a community in which you can ask questions very openly. Okay, and the next thing that I would suggest you guys is that try to make those conversations as open as possible. Don't like find the profile of the contributor on Twitter or LinkedIn, try to ask him there. No, that would just help you, not others, right? And you're kind of personally bothering the contributor. But if you go to an open forum, put an open question, someone would come and answer your question and would be helpful to almost everyone, right? So that's what you should try to do. So that's one part of the ethics that you should follow when you're trying to do open source, right? So does that answer your question, Aman? Or does anyone have any questions around some the things that I talked about? Cool. So that's great. So if you have any questions, feel free to follow up with it. I'm always ready to answer your questions. And next thing is that Google Summer of Code. So I can quickly show you that Google Summer of Code. So Google Summer of Code is nothing but a kind of an internship that Google provides you, and it brings up a lot of organization into a single hub, like a lot of open source projects. Like you would have Blender, you have a lot of common open source software that you might use in your real life, and like that, and they would have a lot of like Debian, and they might have a lot of things that you can contribute to, good friendly for a developer. So this happens in a yearly fashion. So every year Google comes up and takes a lot of organizations and creates a competition or kind of an internship that people can propose things like this is how I want to do, this is how I want to do, and if you are getting selected, you can contribute to those open source projects and you will be getting paid. So this is one of the solid way by which you can contribute to open source, right? And you guys might be asking me more details about it, like how we can get started. And I also already have few profiles or few friends who have already participated it and have good experience. I have added those details in the description of this video, and I will share you guys who are them also. You can ask them your questions, and they will help you or guide you through the process. Okay. And when you contribute through Google Summer of Code, you will get lot of reputation, right? When people are trying to hire you, if they see like you have contributed through Google Summer of Code, it like kind of adds a huge value to your profile. Okay, so if you're a student and you are gonna like having a a vacation or summer, please try to sign up for this. It's gonna pay you money and also give you a huge reputation boost. Okay. So the next thing is the Hacktoberfest, and most of you guys might have already been aware of this. So it happens every October, and there will be a lot of projects putting up things that you can contribute to. And if you make 4 successful pull requests, and if it's getting merged into a good repo, then you'll be getting a lot of T-shirts and a lot of stickers and goodies. So that's also a good way to start your open source journey. But that does not mean that you should wait till October, right? You can start at any time, but Hacktoberfest is kind of a fest that you can always invest on. And there's another thing called Girls Summer of Code. Okay, so Girls Summer of Code is very similar to Google Summer of Code. The only thing is that it's kind of restricted to girls. Okay, so girls can feel free to go over and make your proposals and get it merged, and you can get internship, with stipend, which is great. And then we have Girl Script Summer of Code. It's kind of a great community, born out of India. You might know it, and they have Summer of Code. It's actually kind of happening right now. You can participate it. But don't get fooled by the name Girl Script. Anyone can participate in this, boys, girls, anyone who wants to, please feel free and start your open source journey there. So does anyone have any questions around these platforms on which you can contribute? Okay, so that's a really good question that Aditya Thakur. Yeah, so he's asking me, uh, should I do open source project in UI? Should I switch from being AI to UI? So, to be honest, I'm not sure how to answer that because I have not done a lot of contribution to AI, but I'm pretty sure that you can still do contributions in AI. I can probably, connect with one of my friends who does a lot of, contribution to AI, but that doesn't mean that you should switch your domain or switch to something just to contribute to open source. I'm very sure that there will be a lot of repos accepting contribution to, machine learning or AI, right? And you can even if you don't find any repo, you can still, build your own AI solutions and make it open source and then bring people to contribute it, right? So always feel free for that. Yeah. Surya Harwal, thanks a lot. I'm really humbled by that. I'm really happy to provide guidance, and feel free to ask me any questions, and I'm here to help you. And even after this live, live session, feel free to ping me on Twitter or LinkedIn. Uh, okay, cool. Yeah, this is very important to understand. Okay, so open source software does not mean that you should be pushing code. So a lot of people have a myth that okay, open source contributions means that I should push a lot of codes, I should contribute code. No, it actually doesn't mean that way, right? There's a lot of other things that you can do in an open source contribution, right? You can update on documentation. So whenever you're reading a document, let's say it's React documentation, there are a lot of typos that happens in there. We all are humans. We all make mistakes, okay? And sometimes the documentation may not be updated, right? And you can always feel free to make a pull request to update those documentation, right? So I can probably give you another example that happened to me very recently. Okay, so I have a project called Cube Live, okay, and someone created a pull request on that, okay. Yeah. So this person called you know Aham, he created a pull request. All he did was updated documentation. I had a typo in my documentation. Okay, this was my project. I was like not so aware about the typo. I had typed cluster instead of cluster. He created a pull request, and all I did was like I thanked him a lot and I merged it, right? So this is also a contribution that you can make. Okay, so never feel that what like I should only push code, look for only code contributions, look for typos, documentation updation, all those stuff also still counts. Okay, and then you should raise issues. So raising issues also an open source contribution. Let's say you're using React or you're using some other open source project and you find some issues, you should raise those issues. That's also considered as a contribution. Okay. The next thing is that if you're using some open source project and you're feeling that okay, this could be good if this had this. Okay, I am having this use case, but I'm not able to find that in this project. Feel free to go to the GitHub repo, create an issue, suggest some ideas that I think this is good. Okay, so in technical term, we call them as RFC or request for comment. So feel free to create those things, provide your feedback, help them to plan stuff, and all those things are still considered as an open source contribution. So suggesting idea is like it's huge for those people because they want to keep on improving their project. No one wants their project to be stagnant. Okay, and the best part is that you will be equally honored. Okay, this is the fourth milestone or kind of a pillar in which you should choose a project to contribute. Okay, so choose a project which kind of honors everyone, right? So this is what we call as all contributors graph, in which people say that okay, you see Kunci dot, he contributes codes, he raises issues, he updates documentation. Here he is Ryan Caster, he updates documentation, and there is Daniel who pushes code. So they're like honoring everyone. So choose a project which kind of honors everyone. Don't choose a project which is biased and just like encourages people to push code. Okay. So a good product is not just which has good code. A good project, in my view, is what has a good kind of a good good community, good documentation, good to get started. So if you give me a project which is well written, high quality code, but no documentation, not a good community, but if you give me a project with like not so great code, but great community with good documentation, I would probably choose the second, not the first with good code. Okay, and I would highly suggest you guys to also do that, right? Okay. 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 Um, okay. So, AC Srikanth has asked for summer of code. Okay, so should we solve problems or something? No. The idea about Google Summer of Code is that every project, let's say a Webpack, would have a set of issues. They would have tagged that issue with Google Summer of Code. And you need to do a proposal. A proposal is kind of, you give a high level idea about what you are planning to do, right? So it's kind of a project report that you get, that gets written in college. So you create that, that documentation, tell them this is what I'm going to do. They're happy, they will accept you. So that's kind of what happens in Google Summer of Code. But I will definitely connect you with one of my friends who has done all this and he has a good experience on that. Okay. What are good practices to make my project open source? Why people will contribute to my project? How can I provide them reasons? That's a good question. So the good practice about making a project open source is that keep the project very simple. Don't complicate the code. So when you build an open source project, that code should be readable by everyone. That's one part of actual coding itself. So today I'm feeling that I should have written my codes more simpler so that everyone can understand, right? So try to write your projects in as simple as possible. Don't make things, try to do things complex just because you feel it's cool. No, use it simple, keep it simple. Even if it requires a lot of duplication of code, that is fine. As long as you keep the code simple, people are going to be interested to contribute to your project. Okay. So next thing is, why will people contribute to my project? Okay. So people will contribute to your project when they start using it. Okay. So I'm not telling you that you just create an open source project and people will start contributing to it. To be honest, when I created my first open source project, I had a contribution from a third person after kind of a year or 6 months, right? When people started to use the project, they started to contribute. One example that I showed you, right? I never told him that, I have a problem in my README. No, he uses my project. He came, he saw, okay, there is a README problem. I can contribute to it because I love this project. So you should actually kind of create the same. And another thing you should be very careful about is that you should have a good community. You should be very welcoming. If someone comes and creates an issue, let's say that there is a lot of people who come and create issues in your project, be humble to them, be cheerful to them, so that people go out and say, you know what, I contributed to this project, the contributor was kind of very welcoming, he was humble, he's good, so people will come back and start the open source training, right? So that's how you should build some really good open source project. The things that make up a good open source project is that how useful is it to others, and how healthy the community that you're trying to build, how humble you are to other people who are trying to contribute, right? So Vishal, does that answer your question? And yeah, Rupam has asked me a question and kind of hard to survive there. I think, is there any other good platform of national which we can start with? Okay, okay. So Rupam, I totally agree with you. Yeah, Google Summer of Code is tough. I have a personal experience that it's not that easy, but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't give it a try. Definitely give it a try. But to answer more, that you have asked for a little bit easier one. So one thing that you can do is that go with Hacktoberfest. Hacktoberfest is the best, best place you can get started. It's kind of international, but the things are very easy when it's compared to Google Summer of Code. When you have a Hacktoberfest T-shirt in you and you put it on LinkedIn or wear it outside, that also adds a lot of reputation to you. Okay. So the idea here is not that like I won, I got into Google Summer of Code, I've done Hacktoberfest. No. The idea here is that you have contributed to open source. There's nothing small or big in open source contribution. Everything is a contribution and everything is equally valid. And that's where you should contribute to, right? Okay, then there's another person asking, any resource on how to do good documentation? Cool. So good documentation, it's kind of like asking if there's any documentation to make good documentation, but I can understand like you want some resources on how to make good documentation. So I would say there are a lot of already good resources. Go to a site, like let's say you have read React, right? You have seen its documentation. If you liked those documentation, go read how they have written it, right? That would give you a lot of guidance. So existing documentations which you love, which are on the internet, are the Bible for you. Okay, so there's actually no particular research on which how to do a documentation, but that's how you read a lot. Whichever you felt is good enough and you loved it, follow the same style and try to put your own style onto it. Don't like documentation are not built by words; they are built by expressions and some kind words and ease of use and all those stuff. Okay. Cool. So I think yeah, I have answered all the questions right now. Let's go back to the slide. Yeah. So another thing that you need to be very careful about. Open source are free, but that doesn't mean that you should be like don't care about anything. There is no ethic or anything like that. No. The first rule is that like whenever you're liking a project and you want to add it to your own project or do something more on top of it, don't clone it. Okay, fork it. Fork is the right ethics to copy someone's code. Copying someone's code is not bad at all in open source. Open source actually means taking someone's code, adding your own ingredient and sharing it with others. So when taking ingredients from others, you should give them the right credit. That's the way of telling by using forks. By forking, you say, you know what, I took the project from here, I made some changes, this is what I have done, and people might love your software and start using it, then the repo that you forked from, that's fine. Just give them the right credit. That's the right thing to do. The next thing is that be polite, be kind. So whenever you're raising issues or making pull requests, be polite. Don't be aggressive. I can understand that whenever you're using some open source software, there's something, an issue comes up, you raise an issue and they don't do any action for maybe a month. Don't go aggressive and tell them, hey, why didn't you fix this issue for so long? Don't do that. That's not good. People doing open source are kind of doing a service. They are not getting anything out of it. They are doing it on their free time just to help you to make everyone's life easy. So take that in mind, be polite. And whenever you find an issue and you think that issue can be fixed, like let's say you find like a typo in the README or a documentation, just don't go and create an issue saying that there's an issue in the README. If you had a time, in the same time, you could have created a PR and like made some contribution already. So try to do that. And don't abuse the fellow collaborators. If you see a pull request which is not not good enough or they need some help, don't abuse them. Do help, and that's how you get notified in the community, and that's how you can like get into contributing the project in real time. Okay, so yep, yep, right, Vishnu. Awesome README repository is a good reference for writing good README. Yeah, so this might be a question that might have been lingering in your mind for a long time. I had the same question when I started my open source journey. I saw a lot of good repos. I have seen a lot of open source repos. I was like longing. I want to also make a create an open source repo which is like used by a lot of people. Okay, give me a few minutes. I'll just have few gulp of water. Cool. So the secret mantra to that is, if you want to create your own open source project, which is used by a lot of people, great companies, and people contributing back to it, the best thing is solve your own problem. I'm telling you, after the session, sit back, take a paper, take a pencil, write down what are the problems that you're facing today. When you're doing some project or like in your normal life, what are the problems you have? Just write it down. There's no need for you to action on it, but at someday you get a click that I could do this to solve this, right? And then once you have a solution, build it and share it to others, like put it on the GitHub, right? And I'm telling you, people will most probably like use it. Okay, even if they don't use it, that's fine, you learn something, right? So this doesn't mean in the first go itself you will have a huge open source project. To be honest, for me it took around like 2 years to get a first project to at least get 6 stars in GitHub, and that took me 2 years. But I didn't stop. I kept building solutions that solved my problems. At one point in time, you will build a solution that would solve problems of lot of other people. Okay. 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 So this is my personal experience, and I love to share it. So this is a story of a project I built. I can actually show you guys over here. So this is the project called Deno VS Code that I built. Okay. So the story behind that was like I wanted to learn Deno. For those who are not aware of Deno, Deno is kind of a successor to Node. The creator of Node had some problem with Node. He wanted to fix them, so he is creating a new project. Okay. But the problem was the IDE support to build apps for Deno was not that good. Okay, not that great at all. So what I thought, okay, I have a problem. Let me try to fix it so that I can actually use it every day. So I created a VS Code extension and shared it. Okay, I just shared it on the community or the channel in which Deno operated. So Deno also had a Spectrum channel in which we can like talk about what people are doing. So I put a link over there, a GitHub link over there saying that, yeah, hey, I have created this project. I think I might use it very often, and try it out if you like, right? And a lot of people started using it, and a lot of people liked it, to be honest. Then the creator of the Deno VS Code himself came and started this repo. Okay, so and I got around 138 stars from that. Okay, I'm not telling you that your project should get a huge amount of stars. A star is kind of an indication that people are liking your project. Okay, the second indication that people are using your project is that when a lot of people are coming and creating issues on it. So this project gained attraction because I solved the problem. This was my own open source project. I had a problem, I solved it and shared with people, and people liked it. Okay, so that's what I would suggest you all to do. Write your problems, try to solve it. Don't care about perfection. It is okay if you are not sure about how to do it in the start. Start doing it. Over the period of time, you will learn it, and you will make your first open source project and put it on GitHub, share it, done. Okay, so this is a story of another project that I built. I would like to share. So this is something I call CubeLife. Okay, so what this project is about, like I wanted to learn Kubernetes again. So I'm kind of keen that I keep learning things. So when I wanted to learn Kubernetes, the tool to learn Kubernetes was not so great. Okay, so I was very frustrated about it. So I added to the list of problems I wanted to solve. So one day I thought, okay, this is getting out of limit. Let me try to build a tool. Okay, so I kind of built a tool which is easy for you to learn. Uh, Kubernetes, which gives an interactive terminal where you can do things. And to be honest, when I started building this, I had no idea how to build a command line application, how to build a CLI in Node. I just started it. I named the project. I started to make few commits, went through the interweb, learned how to make a CLI tool, watched lot of tutorials. That's how I got myself into shape. Okay, I learned CLI at the same time, and I'm also solving my problem. Okay, if I have waited for my knowledge to get better, let me get perfect at what a CLI tool is, what Node.js is, I would have never created this project. Okay, I'm telling you this project is still not perfect, but perfection does not come at start. It gets over the period of time. So start a project, learn things, make it perfect over a period of time. Okay, and what I did was I shared it on Reddit. Okay, this is very important. Like, if you create an open source project and you are using it, you should share it with someone. Okay, you can't just keep it with yourself and expect everyone to use it, right? So you should share it in some community. Like I used it Reddit here. You can share it on the community of the project itself. Like you can put it in Kubernetes, create an issue, go to the Spectrum channel, share it. So share it with friends. Okay, never be shameful of sharing your project. Most probably they will like it. Even if they don't like it, that's fine. You learn something, right? So feel free to share it. So marketing is very important to create your own open source project. Marketing is not wrong, but don't be abusive while doing marketing. Be kind. Tell them that have a try. Let me know your feedback. Okay. So once you get this feedback, make continuous changes, make iterations, make it better, 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 and that's how people use your software. That's how you build your open source software. Okay. So once I did that, I almost got like 286 stars. Okay. And there were a lot of people who started to talk about it, like this person, William Lam, he works in VMware, okay? One day he suddenly tweeted about it, saying that your project is great, I'm liking it, I'm sharing it. So that's how you build your open source software. And this doesn't happen on day one. It was not the first day that he came and tweeted that it is good, right? No, it is like kind of almost 8 months old, right? My project is 8 months old. When I started on the first month, it had nothing, it had 0 stars, but I kept working on it. I was very consistent. I kept getting feedback. I kept updating it. I kept sharing with others. And one day this happened. Okay, so you should be very consistent while doing open source contribution. Be calm, be polite, and be patient, and things would happen. Okay. So do you guys have any questions around this? I'll just wait for a few more seconds. Hope you guys are all with me. Did I kind of lose you guys? I'm not sure. Okay, okay. So how do I keep myself motivated? That's a good question, Karthik. Okay, okay. So we have two questions. So the first question is that how we keep myself motivated. So the biggest motivation is that when you build projects that solve your own problem, there will be a constant push from yourself to make that better. Because if that gets better, okay, if that gets better, you are gonna get a kind of a reward. So if I make this project better, it's gonna solve my personal problem. So if it solves my personal problem, I want to do it more. So choose projects which kind of solves your own problem so that it keeps you motivated. Okay. Another way by which I keep motivated is that I take a break. So if you feel not working on a project, take a break. Feel free. Don't push yourself to finish the project on the first day itself. So I started the Cube project on day one, took a break for a week, procrastinated, thought about a lot of ideas, talked to others. So feel free to procrastinate. When you procrastinate, you get wonderful ideas. You have a lot of time to think about it, to iterate on it. Okay. And the next question is how to manage open source alongside with college. Okay. So College and work is not very different. So you guys go at 9, come out at 5. We go at 10, come out at 7. So we have both have kind of the same schedule, but you guys do have homework and other stuff to do. Yeah. So the way by which you can manage is like you're doing a lot of projects in college, right? That's how I actually built a lot of my initial projects on GitHub were my college projects. So I did a college project. Okay, I tried to make it as generic as possible. So a lot of college projects are very specific. We build things to solve a specific problem. So once you're happy with the college problem, then try to make it generic, make it into a project, polish it, get feedback from people who work in industry like me or anyone you know. Ask them how I can make it so that everyone can use, make it better, put it into an open source project. You have it, right? So there's no extra work done. You also do your college projects better, and they also get a good open source project. That's a bonanza for you, right? So try to make your like college projects into open source. That ends up a quality college project and so also quality open source project. Okay, so that's how I actually did. I can actually show you guys like. Uh, uh, Yep. So this was my college project. So they asked me to build kind of an online compiler like HackerRank or HackerRank. So I made it generic, put it onto GitHub, got few stars. Doesn't matter. Stars doesn't matter. You have a solid project on GitHub, and people when come and visit your GitHub, they see okay, this guy has done this project. Okay, he has worked in JavaScript. This is the quality of his code. Okay, he writes good code and things like that. Okay, that brings you a lot of reputation. Does that answer your question, Vishal? Cool. Probably I will continue the slides. Let me know if you have any more questions. Cool. So, yep, that doesn't mean that you should create a huge open source project from ground up. You can always maintain few projects. That's how I got into React Lazy Load. So React Lazy Load was a project I was looking for where I wanted to lazy load my component. I saw it on GitHub. So there was an issue that the contributor had saying that I'm not able to maintain this project. If anyone is up to maintain this project, then I didn't hesitate. I went up and I said I want to manage the project, and the contributor had a look at my profile and said, okay, please feel free to maintain this project hereafter. So today I maintain the React Lazy Load. I review the pull requests. I see the issues. So if you guys want to start contributing, if you are good in React, feel free to look at the issues in React Lazy Load. It's a kind of a very simple, easy project, but used by a lot of people, has good amount of stars. And that's how you should also look for if you see a project which is looking for maintainer. Don't hesitate saying that I'm not sure whether I will be able to maintain it. I'm not good with React and all those stuff. No, just make an create an issue. Maintainers would have also started their journey without knowing anything. Make an issue, talk to them, maintain the project, but it brings in a lot of responsibility that you should be ready to take. Okay, cool. So the next big question that you might have in your mind is that if I put my college project or any project that I'm working on the internet, what if someone comes and steals my idea? Okay, I might have created my own startup. Now someone has already taken my idea. I'm very afraid about it. Okay, so for that you should be aware of something called licensing. So when you create an open source project, make sure you give the right licensing for it. Okay, so what is licensing? Let's have a quick look. So license is nothing but dictating what people can do with your code. Okay. So there are different types of licensing. You should be aware about the crux of what a license means. There's no need for you to read hundreds of pages, but get a crux. That's what I'm trying to do here. So there's a license called MIT. Okay. So when you add MIT license to your open source project, what does it mean is, like if someone uses your project, let's say Google comes up, uses your project on their production, and something breaks, and Google loses a lot of millions of dollars, they can't blame you. Because when you do MIT license, you're telling that I did this for fun. I'm not responsible for whatever problems you have with it. Okay, so you don't give any liability to Google or anyone using your product. Okay, but you give them the trademark. Let's say you named your project like, let's say, CubeLife. Okay, you are telling the person who is using the CubeLife project that you can fork this repo, add some features. You can still call it CubeLife, which is nothing but you are telling that, like, you can take my name, you can do whatever with it. So it's kind of not so good. But if you feel like it's not a big deal to you, you can give an MIT license. So MIT license doesn't give you trademark. People can use your name and build on top of it. Okay, and it doesn't give attribution. What it means is that if someone forks your repo, uses your idea, there is no need for them to give you credits. So there is no need for them to tell, you know what, I took Amit's product, this was Amit's idea. They won't give that. So MIT means no attribution. And they can use it for commercial use, and they can sub-licenses. This is important. What is sub-licensing is that you're telling MIT, which is you can do anything you want. You can trademark it with your own name. There is no need for you to give me credits. You can use it for commercial use, and then they can add a new license and make it more restrictive. In sense of restrictive, I mean that they can't use the same name and things like that. So it's kind of like they can restrict once they take the product from you. So that's what's called a sub-licensing. Okay, so I would suggest you to do MIT when you don't bother about anything. You're okay with anyone does anything with it. You're okay if someone uses it, then go with MIT. Okay, so next is Apache. So Apache is again the same. You don't give liability or kind of any assurance that this will work great. So they don't get that from you, but it gives you trademark. So if I name my project CubeLife, if someone takes my projects, makes some changes, they can't still call it CubeLife. If you know Android has this Apache license. Okay, so let's say if I go to Google, take Android's project, make my own Android, but I can't publish it as Android. I have to create a new name for it because Android is owned by Google. So that's the Apache license. And the attribution is that if I take Android project, make some changes, I need to tell that I took this project from Google and this had these engineers' contribution. So I need to give attribution to the project I took from. Okay, so if you're having a project which you think might get good amount of contributions, it's good value, then try to give Apache license. Okay, and people can still use the software commercial use, and they can sub-license it, which means they can add even more restrictive things like that. Like they can make it closed source. They may not even expose the project at all. So that's what the Apache licensing is about. So then comes the general public license. It's kind of a very famous public in the open source world. So what GPL means is that it's kind of used for professional open source. And if you are building a software, GPL gives the people who use your software a little bit of liability. They can be sure that this code is good. I can use it in production. Okay, and it doesn't give you trademark. Okay, so you are safe with your trademark. People can't use your trademark, and people must give you attribution when they use it for other purposes, and they can use for commercial purpose. Like they can use it or to run their business or things like that, or generate monetary values out of it, but they can't sub-license it. So this is the most important part of GPL. So they can't make it closed source, they can't add another license to it. GPL is GPL, it will stay GPL. So if I take a GPL project, make some changes, I should make it free. I can't make it closed source. Okay, and it protects the trademark. I can't use the same name. And when I make some changes, I need to give attribution to the original project I took from. And I can use it for monetary benefits, but I can't restrict it further. Okay, so it's kind of, if you get something free, you make it free. Okay, that's GPL. And if you are planning to start a startup, or if you are making some code which you feel you are very confident that would be may blow up in the future, try to use GPL. Okay. So do you guys have any questions around licensing? Awesome. So thanks, Aman. I'm really happy that I clarified the licensing part. So yeah, that's the mystery behind MIT and Apache. So feel free to use the right license. Okay, open source doesn't mean that it's free, it means lot of things based on the license you use. Okay, even in GitHub, even if someone can read your code, it doesn't mean that it is free. They can do anything with it. You decide it using the license. So you keep the the IP or intellectual property of it. So do anyone else have any problem around or any questions around licensing? Okay, the thing is that licensing are not cost, they are free. License is nothing but it's a statement. Okay, setup it's just a paper. So if I go over to my project like Cube Life, license is nothing but just a file which dictates few things, right? It already has those kind of things I was talking about, right? So it's just a paper, no one is gonna ask you money, it's totally free. Okay, you should actually add license file to all the projects that you're doing. Don't upload a project to GitHub if you feel it's valuable without a license. And I can actually point you to a very useful tool which I always use, like okay, so I can quickly show you a demo for that. So, so let's say this is my project. I want MIT license here. I have used a tool called license. You can install it using npm global install, then license. Okay, so once you have installed it, what you can do is that you can say license MIT. This is kind of a Linux specific thing. You can look into the documentation. When it runs this command, it's going to create the documentation for me. If you can see, there's already a file called license just created. So I can have a look at it, and so that is the okay. So that would, like, it should have a license. So I always use it, and it's going to generate a license for you. Okay, cool. So cool. So let's go further about it. Okay, so let's say you did a open source project, it's a huge success, and you're very happy about it, and it's even generating money for you. There are a lot of the things that a lot of people don't talk is the aftermath of success. Once you are successful with open source, what do you do after that? So that's the important thing I want to talk. So you get a lot of love. Okay, when I published my CubeLive project, there were a lot of people who commented, said it's good, I'm going to use it, I'm going to share it with people. And even a person told me, I love you. Look at that. It was funny, but I was really amazed. I was like feeling very, very happy on that day, right? This kind of love comes from the community. Okay, so people will tell, like, I love you, I do that, I use it like that, I use it like that, they give you suggestion, all that comes. Okay, but be prepared for little hate too. There was few person that in same same post making fun of me. They made some dirty comments. Don't be like kind of agitated by that. Don't get rude with them. Just downward and go, like move over. Okay, so where there is light there is always darkness. So don't always expect a positive outlook from the community. You might get hate, but try to live with it and move over it. Okay, and then you get huge responsibilities. So open source means free, but it doesn't mean you don't have any responsibility. Open source actually has a huge responsibility than a closed source. When it comes to open source, the chance of people using it is going to be huge because it's free and you are doing it as a service. So be responsible about it. Don't be like, I did a project, it's used by hundreds of people, now I forget it, I don't maintain it. That shouldn't be the case. People are depending on it. Okay? Be responsible about it. And you would be BDFL. So what BDFL means is benevolent dictator for life. I will repeat, benevolent dictator for life. So when you create a huge open source project, like let's say Vue.js, even you is the BDFL or benevolent dictator for life. When you do that, you decide the roadmap of the project. You decide how the project is going to, happen. So during that period, you take the right decisions. You should be responsible to do the right thing for the project. Okay, BDFL is a huge responsibility, but it doesn't mean that you're going to be a dictator and you're going to do everything with the project. No, it just means that you hold the roadmap, and Evan is the one who does that, and he does it very, very responsibly. That's why we have a huge Vue community. Okay, So to keep the open source very thriving, you should build a good community around it. When Vue came out, that there was just one Vue. There was just one person working on the project. There was no one in the project working. He tried to build a community. So that community helped him to build Vue.js where it is. If he was building just with himself, if he was the only person who was contributing, if he was the only person updating the documentation and pushing code, Vue.js would have like would have never come up, right? So what he did was he identified the community, he invited a lot of people, he chose the right people, he kept the community healthy, helped people and remained humble. So that's why Vue.js is huge today. So after success, you should try to do the same to make your project very sustainable. Okay. So till then, do you guys have any questions? Please feel free to fill out in the chat. So this section I did it to show you guys some of the GitHub profiles that I look up to, and these are not like international profiles. There are a lot of international profiles I look up to, but these are few people who are like just like students like you, and they're equally inspiring, and I definitely look up to these profiles, and you should always check this out. And don't worry, I have in the video description I have links to all these profiles and the link to the deck I am talking about, right? So don't worry about that. So let's have a look at the profile. So I look up to a profile called James George. So he's a student. He lives in Kerala. I have never met him in person, but I have met him in GitHub. We had few chats around in LinkedIn. He has a really wonderful project called Maven CLI. Okay, he's just a student like you, still in college, but he has built a project which has around 444, stars, and it's used by a lot of people, and he's very active on the project, and they also have a Telegram group for that. Okay, I would highly suggest you guys to check this out. It's an easy project to contribute to, and it's a highly valuable project. Okay, and you should definitely follow James George. If you look at James George's contribution, he has contributed a lot of wonderful open source projects like Webpack and all those stuff. And this is what I'm talking about. You can take a lot of inspiration. Even if he's a college student, a huge inspiration, and he does a lot of great open source work, right? And the next person I'm very inspired by is Stanshu Yadav. So he works in HackerRank as a front-end architect. He has a huge amount of good open source projects, such a humble person. Check his profile out, and if you want to contribute, you can always contribute. His projects are always easy to read, easy to understand. And it's also, if you're like very much want to do hardcore things, like you are very much good with comparison and all those stuff, I still have stuff for you. He's building something called Brahmos. Check this out. If you can contribute, contribute. But if you're not up to that appetite, he has got other projects that you can still contribute to. Okay, he's a very humble person, and you should definitely check it out. And then I have Aditya Harwal. Again, he's again a student. Okay, he had humble start. He started in a humble college, which nobody knows, but he's now working in HackerRank. All because he himself said it's because of his GitHub contribution, and he has done Google Summer of Code. This is the person I was talking about. He's a good friend. He's a humble person. He has a lot of good open source projects. You should definitely check it out and try to contribute. And you can feel free to ask him questions about the Google Summer of Code in Twitter. He will be always happy to help. So have a look at his profile. You should definitely follow this guy. He's also a student. I think he just now joined HackerRank. Okay. And then, Vince Sagado, I talked about him in the initial stages. Okay, so it's a good friend of mine. I also found him through open source. I have not met him other than that. He works in Postman. He has really great projects about, open source projects on his GitHub. And he's actually he's a project administrator of a Girl Summer of Code. He has a project which I have linked in the description. If you use that project, you can contribute to him. He's a project administrator, and we'll be very happy to have you. So definitely check out Vinit. Okay. And Mohammed Shad Mirza. I'm a big fan of him. He recently built a design system, an open source design system. He too had a very humble beginning. He's also kind of a student who started his open source journey. So he recently created a design system, and that actually led him to his dream job, Hashnode. He's now working in Hashnode because of his open source contribution. So these guys are living examples, and they should definitely check them out, right? So those are the profiles I look up to. And thank you guys. Hope you like my session. And that's all I have today. And now I think we can feel free to push up all the questions that you have in the chat box. Thanks, Aditya. I'm really glad that you learned a lot of things from this session. So if you guys really liked it, let me thanks a lot. I really do a lot of things on Twitter and uh, on GitHub and YouTube. Feel free to follow me. Awesome. Thanks, session. So I think since even this is live, I think we might still have the video on my YouTube. Feel free to share with your friends if they have the similar requirement on like how they should get started. Awesome, awesome. Thanks a lot, guys. I'm really happy about you guys are very you know. Thank you, Kushal. Thank you, Shrikant. I would be very happy if you guys like start your open source journey right away. Don't be afraid. Everyone starts their huge journey with a single steps. So don't be afraid. Take it. Okay, okay. So Shrikant asked that he's out of college. He's from non-CS background. So my suggestion would be Srikanth. To be honest, a lot of people I look up to in my work and my friends are not from CS. They are from ECE, mechanical, right? So don't be worried that you're not from CS background. The thing that matters when it comes to open source and when it comes to a developer is that what they learn out of college, right? All the things that I'm doing today is what I learned out of college, and that's what even Tane like kind of advertise and promotes, right? That's very true. So don't be intimidated. Everyone had a humble beginning. There's never. It's actually better to be late rather than never. So feel free to start learning new stuff. Just spend your time learning. Since it's a pandemic, I think you have a lot of time to learn. Just keep learning, right? Thank you, Vishal. Does anyone have any questions? If there's no question, probably we can end this session. I would thank all of you for joining this, and I'm really glad that you find. Cool, guys. I'm gonna end this stream now, but feel free to catch me on Twitter, tweet about how you felt, and if you have any questions, just like get me a DM me on Twitter or LinkedIn. I'll be always happy to help. And thanks a lot for being such a wonderful audience. Cool guys, signing off. See you.